Hi everyone, this is what happened to me when I got government housing part 40. And I've been having a few problems making these videos, mainly because, as I've said before, I don't like revisiting everything that's happened. There are other reasons why I have problems making these videos. For example, it's the school holidays now, and that's not the best time to revisit this sort of thing. I don't want to be in a dark mood when I'm dealing with my daughter or anyone else for that matter. I just wanted to follow on from the last video where I was talking about VOCAT and the letters that I had received from them. And as you know, after reading those letters and after everything else that happened to me, I decided to withdraw my application for compensation. And I also wanted to let people know about other issues that I had with the staff at VOCAT because, after all, this is going to be on record as my side of the story. And I want people to know everything that happened to get a more honest and accurate picture of what it's like to go through the justice system. And I also want you to understand the reasons why I did some of the things that I did. So, for example, one of the problems that I had with VOCAT was that I'd put in my application for compensation, but another incident would occur. So I'd have to put in another application. The thing was that I had no idea that the respondent would not be charged and not be removed from the block. So that also meant that I had no idea that he would keep assaulting me. And of course, that meant that I had no idea that I would have to keep making applications for compensation. My application for compensation just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I believe that having to keep applying for compensation without the support of the police affected the way the staff at VOCAT saw me. But getting back to what I was saying, as an example of the way the staff at VOCAT treated me and some of the issues that I had with them, there was one time where I rang up to ask them a question about something, which I don't even remember what it was now. But when they picked up the phone, they actually stated, "We've just been talking to your brother." And I said to them, "I don't have any brothers or sisters." And they tried to change the subject after that and didn't admit that what they did was wrong. This means that someone had actually rung VOCAT and told them that they were related to me, and VOCAT was talking to them. And I thought, well, even if I did have any brothers or sisters, I have never authorized anyone else to ring up and ask questions about my case. And I've never authorized anyone to speak on my behalf. So that was one problem that I had with them. But that issue seemed to be an ongoing problem for me. People spoke on my behalf without my permission. People talked about me without my knowledge or my permission. And while this was happening, my evidence and submissions weren't believed. It seemed to me that the people working in the justice system would just believe just about anyone other than me, and no one has ever justified why they took that attitude towards me. And no one has ever apologized. I was never listened to and never believed, even when I did everything I could do to present evidence regarding my case. And there were other incidents as well. Like, I can remember going to the VOCAT counter at the Melbourne Magistrates Court, and I asked one of the female staff a question, and she became so upset by my presence that she actually started shaking and yelling at me. And then she got really agitated. And the question that I asked her was really benign. There was nothing behind it. It was a perfectly reasonable question asked in a very reasonable way. But she got so angry and so hostile, you would have thought that I threatened her. But I know for a fact that I didn't. I believe that a lot of people working in the justice system saw me as beneath them, and they were so pompous that they saw my questions as rude, even though the same questions would have been seen as reasonable and answered easily if anyone other than me had asked them. I felt uncomfortable dealing with the staff at VOCAT, but I didn't have a choice. I needed to be compensated for all the things and money that I'd lost because of the respondents' attacks on me. And the only way that I could achieve that was through VOCAT. And as I've said before, everything that happened to me was weird, and the way people in the justice system treated me was so harsh and so strange, and I don't know the reason behind their cruel behaviour. I can't explain their disgusting behaviour towards me, and that's another reason why I've taken the time to detail everything that happened. Because if there's anyone out there that can explain it, or someone who has had the same treatment, I would love to hear about that. So now we're up to the 19th of the 11th, 2016, and the banging on my ceiling was continuing, but on this date it was really bad. At around 9 p.m, the respondent banged so loudly on my ceiling it made my bedroom window shake. I have no idea how he made a banging noise that loud. I know it wasn't him stomping on the floor of his unit, because there's no way that a person's foot could do that much damage. I wondered how he did it, but I never found out what was really happening inside his unit. The banging noises were so loud and so scary that I couldn't think afterwards. There was also a horrible smell coming into my unit, and it smelled like very strong petrol, and I believe that smell was coming from the respondent's unit. The respondent would usually bang on my ceiling at night, and sometimes throughout the night, and sometimes the banging would continue all night until the morning. Then on the 20th of the 11th, 2016, the respondent was banging on my ceiling intermittently throughout the whole day. Then from around 7 p.m. that night, the respondent was drilling something inside his unit. The drilling caused my ceiling to vibrate and gave me and my daughter headaches. I hoped he wasn't drilling through my ceiling, but that's what it sounded like, and it was really scary. For some reason, I decided to reinstate my application for compensation to VOCAT. I don't know what made me want to reinstate my application, but I guess it was just financial reasons, and basically that I had no other option. There was no other way for me to recoup the money that I had spent on all the administration costs of representing myself in court. My washing machine and my dryer, the cost of attending the laundrette, the cost of the holiday we went on to get away from the respondent, and the cost of all the time and the labour that I put in, among other things. So on the 21st of the 11th, 2016, I went to a law firm in the city to speak to a lawyer. I asked the lawyer to represent me so I could reinstate my VOCAT claim. I gave the lawyer a USB stick which outlined what the respondent had done so far, and that lawyer copied the USB stick to his computer. He asked me a few questions, and then things got really weird. He didn't offer to help me or even ask me any questions about my case. He actually just looked at me, turned nasty, stuck out his chest, and said that he wouldn't give me any free advice. And this was despite the fact that I had spoken to him on the phone about my situation, and he knew that I was a single parent and just wanted to reinstate my VOCAT application. After saying he wouldn't give me any free advice, he actually yelled at me and told me to get out, which I did immediately. I packed my things back into my bag, and I got up and I walked to the elevator without responding to him. I was completely taken aback and I didn't know what to say. For some reason, he followed me to the elevator. I don't know what he thought would happen or why he did that, but this was becoming a pattern. People who worked in the justice system were very verbally violent with me and very belligerent and very hard on me, but I never knew why. I definitely didn't do or say anything to that lawyer to justify his behaviour towards me. But as you can see, that lawyer's behaviour was similar to the way the police treated me, and it was similar to the way the staff at VOCAT treated me. People treated me like I was dangerous and like I had done something wrong, when all I did was try to help myself and try to protect my daughter and myself from the respondent. I got the impression that people in the justice system didn't want me to get help and didn't want me to be protected from the respondent. It was as if they wanted me to be in danger and wanted the respondent to assault me. In some ways, it actually seemed as though people working in the justice system were protecting the respondent because they wanted him to keep assaulting me, but I didn't know why they would want to do that. I don't know anyone who works in the justice system. I don't know any police, I don't know any lawyers, and I don't know any judges, so they can't possibly have any personal opinion of me. Nothing made sense, and the only thing that mattered to me was to get through the final hearing for compensation so I could get paid out and hopefully get away from the violence.